What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for stopping by the channel. So on the screen here, I have Pisces, the fish, northern and southern tribes. That's what these represent, and we talked about those in depth. So if you're new to the channel, you can go back and check some of the other videos where we break down Pisces. So we know that also in this constellation, you have Cetus, which is what the northern and the southern tribes are bound to, right? And we talked in depth about Cetus in the other videos as well. So here you have also in this constellation with Pisces, you have another one which is called Andromeda. So this is the chained woman, and we know that the woman also represents the bride, right? So here you see she's chained to the sky, afflicted, in bondage, right? And I told you anytime we went into our people went into slavery or captivity, this constellation was seen, right? So here you have Andromeda, which is a woman. She's bound, she's chained, she's afflicted. Her feet right here, they're pointing to the bridegroom, which is Perseus, whose shoulders they rest on. In this star, you also have Alfaraz, which in Arabic means the broken down, and also another star that's here is called Almara in Arabic, which means the afflicted, right? So she's in trouble, she's bound, helpless, chained to the sky, right? We also know that in this constellation we have a few other stars, but I wanted to focus on this one, right? And it says, "Oh, thou afflicted, tossed with the tempest, and not comforted. Behold, in righteousness shalt thou be established. Thou shalt be far from oppression, for thou shalt not fear, and from the terror, for it shall not come nigh thee. Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion, put on thy beautiful garment." All right. So I wanted to show you this because I'm going somewhere with this, guys. So here you also see, and that will also be in this constellation, would be Cephas, the king coming to rule, crowned glory, right? So then it's going to take us to this one, is what I want to talk to you guys about. But that's Perseus right here. You guys have seen Perseus before. We talked about that. We talked about what's in his hand, which is the head of his enemy, right? Which is where her feet were pointing to, his shoulder, resting on his shoulders. So let's talk a little bit about Aries. Here's Aries right here. That's the ram or lamb, right? The blessings of the redeemed enjoyed. That's what Aries is about, right? So yesterday we talked a lot about Capricorn. And in Capricorn, remember that started with the goat being sacrificed and it ended with the lamb living again. We saw that in the fish that was, jumping out the water and happy. And, we talked about how that symbolized not only Yeshaya, but us. And if you look at a lot of these constellations, you can see how they run very parallel, how we run parallel with Yeshaya's life, meaning that he came to, die for our sins. He came to be the example, but like him, he had to come into the realization who he was. And we're doing the same thing. We had to come into the realization that we are the Most High's sons and daughters, right? And just like him, we saw with the arrow that, he had to be wounded. We also know that we had to go into punishment for the things that our forefathers did, when they went off in search of other gods and worshiping other gods. And so you can kind of see how it's parallel, right? Okay, so let's take a look here at Capricorn, right? So what I want to show you in Capricorn is this one right here, Cassiopeia. You guys are probably saying the name wrong, right? So let's talk a little bit about her, because we saw in Andromeda, it was chained. She was chained. The woman was chained, right? In captivity, slave, bounded, right? But here in Cassiopeia, and I'm saying the name wrong, probably, guys, I'm sorry. Her hands are not bound anymore. She's free. if you notice, and she's sitting right beside the king, which is Cephas. So here you see the captive is delivered and preparing for her husband, the Redeemer. If you look at her, what we saw in Pisces is that she was bound. Here she's free. Here we see her, she's enthroned, right? And then the Arabic name, which is one of the stars that's here, is called El Sidir, which means the freed. And the in Cassia just means the enthroned and beautiful one, right? So also, let's take another look at her. In her left breast here, this star right here, it means the name is Shadir, which is Hebrew for the freed. The top of the chair is a star there. That means Kaf, which means the branch, right? And, you know, symbolizing the branch of victory. And here, they changed this because it should be a branch in her hand, right? So she's exalted and making herself ready, right? And when you hear like the Greeks and the Romans talk about this one, they, you know, they have her like she was vain and all types of stuff, which could also just symbolize how we did go off after idolatry, you know? But here she's freed, right? Her hands are no longer bound, and she's engaged in this in the happy work, right? The right hand, let's take a look at her right hand. She's arranging her robe, right? And the left, she's adorning her hair. But let me see if I can pull up a better picture of her, because that's not showing you what I am depicting. It's okay. Sorry, guys. Let's see if we can find a picture, a good one. Okay. Okay, we're not going to be able to find one right now, but if you guys go look in the Witness of the Stars, it has a picture of her with the branch and arranging her robe and fixing her hair. So she's getting ready, right? She's seated next to Cephas. Let me go back. Seated next to Cephas here, the king. She's the bride. She's the lamb's wife, right? And then Perseus, the breaker, was right under the chained woman, right? That's Perseus over here. This is the breaker, delivery. He's delivering his redeemed. And what I really wanted to show you guys, which I thought was very interesting, is this here. Now, Cassia, and if you look at it, it looks like the arch, right? The McDonald's arch. You'll see this star February 2nd, 2021, right? You'll be able to see it. Now, knowing what we know about what this star represents, I thought it would be good to come on and share this with you today, right? We have hope. Cassiopeia. Anyway, guys, that's all I wanted to show you. Thanks for watching the channel, and shalom.